Today we are going to talk about the pure tuning of just intonation and how some EDOs have virtually pure JI intervals inside of them. We'll go over some of the basics of how JI works and how it stacks up against other equal temperament tuning systems. Okay, so I have touched briefly on just intonation in past videos. This is a phenomenon that occurs in nature that can explain why we are drawn to the harmonies humans have been using in music throughout history. It's no accident that we use thirds and fifths and sevenths and so on. Nature was generous enough to lay all of this out for us. So if you already know all about just intonation, this video probably isn't for you. But for everyone else, I will try to do a decent job explaining just some of the basic concepts behind it. So at the heart of just intonation is the harmonic series. Now, this is just a beautiful phenomenon of nature. Basically, whenever you play a note, say a C, it's going to produce a series of overtones. Let's see what that looks like. So take a look at this chart. It shows the first 16 harmonics produced when you play a C. The first harmonic is that fundamental C you played, and from there we start to get overtones that increase in pitch as we go. The second harmonic, or the first overtone, is the octave. The third harmonic is the perfect fifth with the G. The fifth harmonic is the major third with E. And if we skipped ahead to the 15th harmonic, we'd find the major 7 with B, and so on. So this chart just shows the first 16 harmonics, but because we live in an infinite reality that is ever expanding into more complex novelty, it really just goes on forever. The further you go up the series, the more notes you're going to find that harmonize with that fundamental pitch. So how is this even possible? Well, it really comes down to the language of the universe, mathematics. Now, I know most of us try to avoid this subject. A lot of us, myself included, will happily declare to the world, I suck at math. And while the math in music can get complex and be zero interest to some, if we're just talking about the basics here, it's really quite simple. Alright, so every harmonic that is produced from a note is actually its own distinct sine wave. And as you increase in frequency, the speed at which the sine wave vibrates also increases. Here's the sine wave of our fundamental harmonic. The second harmonic vibrates twice as fast as the fundamental. The third harmonic is 3 times the speed of the fundamental. The fourth harmonic is 4 times the speed of the fundamental, and so on. Now we can start seeing intervals as ratios, which you may have seen before. And while these ratios become more complex the higher you go, the basic idea is pretty easy to grasp. Take a look at the first 2 harmonics, the fundamental and the octave. The octave here is an exact doubling of the fundamental and has a ratio of 2 to 1. The second harmonic, the C, to the third harmonic, the G, is the perfect fifth and has a ratio of 3 to 2. To find the ratio of the major third, we see it's the fifth harmonic, with the next closest octave below being the fourth harmonic, so it's a ratio of 5 to 4. Jumping ahead, you can see the major second having a ratio of 9 to 8, the major 7 has a ratio of 15 to 8, and so on. So all these intervals that are produced by the harmonic series are at their purest possible tuning, and it's this tuning that is called just intonation. So why don't we just tune all instruments to the harmonic series? Well, because it's impractical. These intervals are not evenly spaced from each other, and the math doesn't add up from key to key. You'd need a different instrument for each key you're playing in, and there'd be little deviation from outside of that. Instruments without fixed pitches like vocals or fretless strings or Wind instruments can play in just intonation, and a barbershop quartet is a beautiful example of that. But they will still be confined to the notes within the harmonic series of that fundamental key they're playing in. One way humans solved this issue was by inventing equally divided tunings. Also known as EDOs, this splits up all the notes within the octave by the same amount of cents. Makes sense. If you've seen any of the episodes I've done on EDOs, some intervals in any given tuning will be closer or further away to just intonation. Take a look at how some of these intervals compare across a few different tuning systems, keeping in mind that humans can really only hear a difference of 5 to 6 cents. Let's start with the major third here in 12 EDO, and we'll go through some of the other EDOs we've covered so far in past episodes, and we'll see how many cents off each is from just intonation. And let's do the same thing with the minor third. Let's try it with a minor 7 on top. And let's just go ahead and add a 9 on that chord. So if the human hearing can only hear a difference of 5 to 6 cents, the 53 EDO tuning there gets its intervals ridiculously close to just intonation. You can basically play in JI while having all the conveniences of an equally divided tuning. So every different EDO is going to provide its own vibe based on how its intervals approximate to just intonation. And while 53 EDO is a great way to take advantage of just intonation, it's not the only EDO to do so. We'll explore those soon. But as always, thanks for watching and subscribing. We'll see you next time.